man will kill you if you look at him, but the reason why he does it will shock you. Nico Jenkins worships the devil and was sentenced to prison for 10 years at just 18 years old. But a decade later, when he was finally a free man, he saw an opportunity to show the world who he really was. On the very first night he was released from prison, Nico was walking downtown in the streets of Chicago when he noticed this man named George staring at him on a bench across the street. Nico immediately approached George and shot his you-know-what off. George begged for his life for over 10 minutes before Nico finished him off in the head. He then went on to murder 3 more people that night, loving every minute of it. Police arrested him days later, and in 2017, he was sentenced to death. But Nico never died and is still out there today. But you won't believe the real reason why. Hit the pause for part 2.
When animals are afraid, that's exactly when you should be very afraid as well. This rabbit reacted in pure fear because of this right here. Something running with half its body gone. I'm gonna roll the clip right now. When animals are... This girl right here was babysitting and found a weird CD that said, "Do you want to see a ghost?" and took it home. What happened next when she put the CD in was terrifying. I'm gonna roll the clip right now. This girl right here.
The scariest things police have seen. Part 42. This story was sent to me by a police officer in California who wished to be anonymous. On June 17th, 2002, an air tanker crashed near Walker, California, while on a firefighting mission. The crash was even caught on camera. An officer saw the crash and ran to it. While running through the forest, he came upon 3 men in flight suits who seemed dazed and confused. He asked them if they saw the crash, but they wouldn't respond to him. Since they weren't helpful, he continued on. When he got to the crash site, he found that all passengers on board were killed. There were 3 men on board that plane. The officer went back to where he saw the men in the forest, but he couldn't find them anywhere. No one else who responded to the crash site had seen them. The officer then realized that the 3 men he saw in the forest were the spirits of the crew members that died that day. The scariest things...
My Zoom teacher keeps telling me to tell my sister to stop running around in the background. I don't know what she's talking about. I live alone. Fuck no. The babysitter asked why I didn't mention the 2 other children. I only have 1. I found a dead body in the trunk yesterday, which is strange because I remember putting 2 in there. I was having a staring contest with my doll. I won. I went to my friend's house and I needed to use the bathroom, and her brother gave me a water bottle. I said thank you and told my friend her brother was nice, but she said she doesn't have a brother. Who was that boy? At least he was nice. I woke up to hear knocking on the glass. At first I thought it was the window, until I heard it come from the mirror again. Getting rid of all my mirrors, got it. I was playing rock, paper, scissors with myself in the bathroom. That is, until the mirror won. I installed a new camera system at my new home. I'm too scared to ask my family why they were standing at my door at night. My daughter won't stop crying and screaming in the middle of the night. I visit her grave and ask her to stop, but it doesn't help. I was scared to see my mom's dead body in the bathroom. That's not where I left it. What the fuck? I was alone at home and I suddenly sneezed. The phone rang and a voice said, "Bless you." My mother yelled for me downstairs, but my mom was asleep next to me. What if the person next to you wasn't your mom and your mom was actually downstairs? Or what if the person next to you was your mom and the person downstairs was not? I don't know what I would do. I used to scam people by pretending I was a blind pianist. So I didn't know what to do when my sister came in, dragging her dead husband past me. You keep playing because... Sarah, stop! I yelled as I followed my girlfriend around at the mall. I don't know why she was there. The last time I saw her was when I buried her. Me and my friends looked at the mirror. They were smiling as we left the room. I banged from the inside of the mirror. That's not me. My son was making weird faces at the room where my late father, himself. He said that he was copying the floating man in the room. My name is Julian. While I was cleaning the kitchen with my mom, my little brother shouted, "Julian, no!" While he fell down the stairs, my mom turned her eyes upon me. Sarah comes over to my house. We were having fun. A minute later, I received a text that says, "I can't come over today, I'm sorry." It's from Sarah. No!
What happens if you wake up during surgery? In 2008, Donna Penner was booked in for an exploratory laparoscopy at her local hospital. It should have been a routine procedure, but for some reason, the general anesthetic failed. With her body still paralyzed by the anesthetic drugs, Donna was unable to signal that anything was wrong. Over the next 90 minutes, she was forced to feel horrific pain as the doctor made the incisions on her body and moved around her internal organs. What happens if you wake up during surgery?
This is why you should never Google yourself. Some of us might have done it once or twice, but for Honora Petrova, one simple search led to horrifying consequences. Honora had always wanted to be an ice skater. She was young, talented, successful, and had a famous trainer. The night before her first big championship win, she felt more anxious than usual. For fun, she Googled herself and came across a Wikipedia page saying that she would win. When she did win, Honora thought this must be a coincidence. But every time after that, the page would predict whether she won or lost. She checked it every single time, almost addicted to refreshing that site. When she was about to compete in another huge competition, she decided to manipulate the website by changing the outcome it predicted. But instead, it said, Honora Petrova is going to get what she deserves. Right after, she was accused of sabotaging another girl's skates, which ended up slicing her in the forehead. Even though Honora denied it, she was banned from the competition and was dropped by her trainer. She thought this must be the worst of it until she checked the website the next day and saw a terrifying message about her. Follow for part 2 of the story.
You've probably heard of the elevator game, and if you haven't, you're gonna learn today. The elevator game is a very suspicious paranormal game, and some people think that it was even behind the death of Eliza Lamb, the girl who died at the Hotel Cecil. I'm gonna tell you how the elevator game works, but y'all already know the drill. Don't try this at home. So basically, you get into an elevator. You need to be in a building that has at least 10 floors. There's a specific order that you have to follow with the floor. This is the order right here. When you get to the 5th floor, you supposedly encounter a woman. If she tries talking to you, do not respond to her and don't look at her. After you see this woman on the 5th floor, press the button to the 1st floor. If the elevator takes you down to the 1st floor, then leave and don't look back. This means that you were let go safely from the game. If the elevator goes up instead of down, then that means that you've entered a different dimension. Things might look slightly different now because you're in a different dimension. And if you see the woman, do not talk to her, don't even look at her. Part 2, I'm going to talk about how to get back to the actual world from the different dimension. You probably
Disturbing facts that will ruin your day, part 6. There are only 2 days that do not last 24 hours. The one of your birth and the one of your death. Pacu is a South American freshwater fish known for its squarer, straighter teeth that eerily resemble those of humans. This is how a toothbrush looks like under a microscope after the first use. Google hires camels for the desert street view. Disturbing facts that
You should never trust the Easter Bunny, and this is why. It all began in 2016 when a man dressed as the Easter Bunny was seen wandering the streets of Fairfax, Virginia. The man would hang out in the same spot every day and watch the children play until it got dark. The children would always ask him who he was, but he would just say, "I'm just a friendly Easter Bunny." He would watch the kids and then follow them back to their houses so he knew exactly where they lived. Then, at night, he would break into their houses, kidnap the children, and then murder their parents with an axe. The police finally connected the strange kidnappings and murders to the bunny, but they could never find him and nobody knew where he lived or who he was. That is until one night during a patrol, the police saw the bunny walking with a little girl and holding a bloody axe. Part 2 coming soon.
please do Cat Scratch. I actually used to play this game with my sisters all the time when we were younger, and most of the time it actually worked. So Cat Scratch is a paranormal game which basically you're supposed to summon some sort of spirit to scratch you along your back. To play the game, you need at least 2 people. So one person sits crisscross applesauce and the other person lays their head in that person's lap. The person who's sitting up then starts rubbing the other person's temples and telling them one of the cat scratch stories. There are a few different variations of stories that go along with this game, but I'll tell you the most popular one. So the story goes like, there was once an old lady who owned a cat. The cat was very nice. It would meow and purr. One day the cat got hit by a car and died. Cat scratch, cat scratch, cat scratch. The old lady got a new cat. This cat was very mean. It hissed and clawed. Cat scratch, cat scratch, cat scratch. I'm running out of time, but follow for part 2. Please.
This is why you should always keep your phone charged. A girl named Marissa came home from school at around 3 p.m. She walked in the door and told her mom that some random number kept calling her all day. Her mom told her the person may have the wrong number and just to ignore it. Marissa said okay and begins to do her homework. A couple hours later, she receives a phone call from the same number. Marissa answers it this time and says, "Hello?" The man then says, "We finally found you. Don't worry, Bunny." Marissa begins to panic and tells her mom what just happened. Her mom's face goes blank and says, "What did the man just call you?" Marissa says, "He called me Bunny." Her mom yells and says, "Grab your stuff. We need to leave." Marissa, confused, packs her things and gets into the red car. Her mom begins driving fast and turns on the radio. The radio says, "The baby named Marissa who was kidnapped in the hospital 10 years ago has been found and police are searching for a red car." Marissa looks at the woman and says, "Who are you?" The woman looks back and says, "You can call me Mommy." This is why
I got pulled over today, and the cop comes.
Located in a cemetery in Vermont, there is a grave with a window to peek inside. This grave belonged to a man named Timothy Clark Smith. Timothy had a fear of being buried alive. This may seem like an irrational fear, but it was actually more common than people realize. Timothy patented a design for his own gravesite. Not only did he include a window on his tombstone, he also built a contraption that included a bell. In the case that Timothy woke up underneath the ground, he could pull a string and ring the bell to signal for help. Timothy passed away on Halloween in 1893, and he never needed to use the bell. The window to his grave is still there, although the visibility to see inside of it is very low after the years. But I can't imagine being a gravekeeper, hearing a bell ringing in the middle of the night, knowing that you are the only one there. Located in a
Reacting to the scariest TikTok accounts, part 2. This account is unique because a lot of you messaged me on Instagram and you wanted me personally to react to it. My Instagram is Austin Vro if you guys ever want to send me another account. The account we're going to be looking at today is called user0172647271. It seems this account has racked over 200,000 followers with only 5 videos posted. And the views are just unheard of for a brand new account. This account isn't just a normal TikTok account. This entire account is supposed to represent an ARG. An ARG is an alternate reality game. I'll show you what I mean. Let's check out one of the videos.
Went to the hospital at 12 a.m. and they told me to stay in the car and realized that it's been 3 hours and there's nobody around me. I also checked in the hospital and saw no one.
This person is saying that in this alternate reality there is nobody there and he's able to make these videos and upload them for us. But look at this. We can see there's a bunch of numbers and letters, which is a message. This is what it translated to. Like and follow for more videos. Reacting.
I literally want to cry. So if you didn't know,
This boy killed his entire family and then posted the pictures online. Zachary Smith was a 16-year-old boy living in his parents' basement in Ontario. He was a great son and a straight-A student who would always get the best grades in the class. But after graduating high school and going to university, things began to seriously change. He would spend all day and night playing video games and sometimes even missing class. Slowly, his gaming addiction got to the point where he was skipping every class and missing exams. Eventually, Zachary couldn't take it anymore, so he dropped out of university without telling his parents. From then on, he would tell his parents that he was going to university in the morning, but instead, he would just go to a friend's house and play Call of Duty. This went on for 4 years until finally it came time for him to graduate. But instead of telling his parents the truth, he did something so sinister that shocked the entire world. Part 2 coming soon. This boy...
My mom said my little sister is an angel, but when I threw her out of the balcony, she didn't fly. I should not be laughing at that. My brother told me once, "Gabs, there's someone in my closet." I told him, "No, there isn't." I opened up the closet to see my brother inside. I mean, at that point, they're both catching these hands. I do not care. I always wondered why my mom never let me leave the house, so I snuck outside and wandered around. Then I saw a paper. Why did it have a picture of me? I always thought my cat had a staring problem. It turned out it was always looking behind me. Fuck no. My mom always used to say doorbells stop people from knocking. So I don't know why she said we had to move when I asked for a doorbell on my window. That just reminds me of the knockings that my brother keeps hearing in his window. Oh. My mom said my little...
These are the strangest graves in the entire world. This grieving mother added a sandbox to her little boy's grave who had passed away unexpectedly. And now his older brother plays in it every single day. This is the gravesite of a boy who died of an incurable illness in 1865. A few hours before he died, he told his dad he was afraid of death because he knew they'd be burying him underground with no lights. So his parents honored his wish and put a window in his tomb. After her daughter died of yellow fever in 1892, a grieving mother wanted to make sure that her little girl was never alone. You see, her daughter was absolutely terrified of storms, so she constructed a staircase that goes down directly into her tomb. Every single time there was a thunderstorm, that mother would go to the graveyard and sit with her daughter for hours, comforting her in her grave. These are the strange...
Disturbing facts that will ruin your day, Part 9. You can't die of old age. Only from diseases brought on by age. This man was buying cigarettes from his hospital bed in 1950. After death, the enzymes from your digestive system begin to digest your body. You can get stuck on a plain toilet if you flush while sitting down and your body forms a perfect seal on the vacuum toilet. Disturbing facts that will ruin...
My daughter cries and screams at night. Every time I visit her grave, I ask her to stop, but she won't listen. Lying in bed, unable to sleep, I blinked my eyes and noticed a message written on the bedroom door. It read, "I know you're awake." I grabbed my husband's arm tightly as we walked through the haunted house. By the time we got out, he was nowhere to be found, but I was still holding his arm. No! "Eat your cookie," screamed the old man at the little boy. "Eat your cookie or I'll kill you." The boy's puppy's name was Cookie. No! Sometimes when people come home, they feel a little paranoid and check every room just to make sure that they're the only ones in the house. I've seen you do this. Luckily for me, you never check behind the curtains. Bitch, what? My daughter cries